You're listening to a Cup of Resilience podcast with Tamiko Drummond. Real topics, real people, real solutions.
Hello, everyone. Guess what? It is a Cup of Resilience time. My name is Tamiko Drummond, and I'm known as the Brand Success Coach. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are live. I'm super excited. You know who it is, Tamiko Drummond, the Brand Success Coach. Welcome to another episode of a Cup of Resilience podcast. I am excited for this lady that I have on today. I've been asking her to be on the podcast for a minute, and her availability has opened up. Today, we are talking about HR is more than hiring and firing. Listen, this lady right here, Katrina Shackelford, she is amazing at what she does. Now, I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. Katrina Shackelford, welcome to a Cup of Resilience podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Please let the people know who you are.
Hello. I am Katrina Shackelford. I am a HIRS data manager for a local school district here in Georgia, in DeKalb County, Georgia. And I am also the Senior Vice President for NAAA HR Atlanta and Human Resources Professional Organization. Thank you for having me, Tamiko.
You are so welcome. Thanks for finally being able to be here. Listen, so our topic today is HR is more than hiring and firing. And I know that you have this amazing gift of analyzing data. So why do you say that HR is more than just hiring and firing? Because you know, a lot of people out there just think, oh my God, HR, they just don't hire people, fire people, and that's all they're good for. But let us know, why is HR so much more than that, especially now?
So I'll say, for me personally, I've been in human resources going on almost 10 years now. And I have honestly, in my HR roles, have never hired or fired anybody. I started out working specifically in human resources as a application technician. And I assisted employees or applicants complete their application, and also on the back end verified data and qualified security clearance, made sure that people had the certificates that they said they had, and review the documents. So if your application says upload a resume, I was that person to check the document and make sure it was an actual resume and not a picture of a pumpkin, which we have actually had.
Wow.
Recently, I was talking to one of the girls in the office, and recently somebody uploaded pictures of pumpkins as their documents.
Wow.
Okay. Right. You would be surprised. And so after working in the application space, I then moved into data. I started out as a data analyst, and then I'm now I was a records clerk for a minute, and then now I'm working as a HIRS manager, which we work with data. We pull reports from the employee system of record. We help provide data for financial decisions. And so that's kind of, I've never done hiring and firing. What's even funny, which gave me the topic for today, I walked into one of our senior leaders' office to say, hey, I have a quick question. And she said, which piece of the alphabet soup are you asking about? We're working on this project, and this project, and we haven't even gotten to hiring and firing. So wow. What are we talking about today?
Right. Yeah, it is so much more, because there's so many. So you have the HR generalists, like you said, you work in HIRS. Now, why is data so important? I know we talked a little bit about this. So explain to us why companies need data and for it to come from human resources.
So data is the new oil. That's a tagline that has been running around with some of the futurists. Data is everything. Even if you look at Facebook makes money off gathering and obtaining data and providing it to other companies. You can forecast with data. You can develop succession planning with data. Oh, how about that? My computer's been spinning and it started making noise. Sorry.
No worries.
But you help make decisions with data, and that's how human resources becomes a strategic partner for the organization. So
Mhm.
you use data. We talked about the great
Resignation.
resignation,
Right.
for example, and being able to look at the human resources data and form stories and themes helps you make decisions for the organization.
Right. Right. And that's so important. Now, I know during COVID, companies really had to rely on human resources and even data, right? Because now
Mhm.
you had to pivot. This is something that we haven't had to go through in this century. So, having to pivot during a pandemic where now you're moving some people out of the office and home. So you
Mhm.
have to make sure that you have the right data to keep in contact with these people to make sure that actually work is being done. How else was data helpful during COVID?
Well, not only just data, human resources in general was completely a part of this COVID shift, because you have HR policies that have to be reviewed for working from home, and how do you go about looking and using leave working from home?
Right.
How do you how do you onboard new employees working from home? Like, I
Right.
started in this role virtually. I didn't meet my manager, my direct report, or my director in person until I had been in the position for maybe 6 months.
Oh wow.
So, right, because I was hired at home.
Mhm.
I interviewed for another company completely at home, which is
Wow.
all new. Companies had to pivot, and positions were on hold because it's like, well, can we hire now? Are we going to still work from home? Companies are still trying to decide if they're even going back into the office, and having that human resources data helped assist some of those decision plans, like how many employees do we need new laptops for?
Mhm.
Transit, making those type of decisions. You have to look at, well, how many employees can we afford to work from home? Well, this group of employees can't work from home. They have to be on site. When you're working at custodians, you can't clean a building from home. So how do we pay these people?
Right.
Those are the kind of decisions that HR had to make in this pivot during COVID.
Let me ask you something.
Mhm.
So we work on a board together for many years, and a lot came up about succession planning during 2020. So,
Mhm.
how is data being utilized to help with that factor? Because, COVID happening, anything can happen to anyone
Mhm.
during COVID, especially. So, how how has that been a factor?
So data can definitely help with succession planning, looking at your group of employees, just based on practice. How many employees do you have within this age group? What are the trends for employees in the different age brackets? So with your organization, do individuals tend to leave and retire in their 50s? Do they leave and retire in your 60s? If the theme is that people traditionally leave around their 50s, then knowing exactly how many employees you have in that gap, in that bracket, to say, okay, we have 100 employees approaching age 55.
Mhm.
What are we doing to bring in new employees to fill that gap? We're even looking at now, working on an incentive plan to say, hey, if you tell us you're going to retire within the next 6 months to a year, we're going to give you a bonus, because we need to be able to plan for that next person to fill the role. And with the hiring gap, I mean, not the hire, yeah, the hiring gaps that are happening because of COVID, it takes a little bit longer.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Hi, Rhonda. Thanks for
Hey,
watching.
Rhonda.
All right. So, talk to me about HR data and systems. Like, what is being utilized now in different companies? What's hot? what's not, and how are we utilizing it?
Well, the ERP, it's really tricky, and it depends on which what sector you're working in. So Munis is really big in the education system now. A lot of the metro school districts use Munis. My district is actually moving over to Munis, and that's one of the major projects that I'm working on. We're switching ERP systems, and that's a lot of data. We're moving data from one system to the new system to ensure that when we cross over, it's a seamless transition.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's one of the major projects that I'm working on right now. Um, I don't have any specific system names off the top of my head that
Hmm.
people are using, but that's what we're using currently.
And how long is a project like that?
It can take from 1 year to 5 years, just depending on the size of the organization.
Wow.
Um, we are moving all of our systems to a new. So we're going from our legacy system, which I believe the district has had for about 20 years,
Mm,
and we are migrating over. I think our payroll system, our human resources system, the operations system, and accounting and budgeting. So that's four major systems that we're transitioning to this new product. So it's a heavy lift.
mm. That is a heavy lift.
Mhm.
Katrina, let me ask you. So during this great resignation, there's a lot of employees not only leaving, but I think the buzz topic is they want to be paid more. So how is data helping with cost analysis? Because and or I don't even know what I would say about that, but how are you all thinking about how to increase pay or what's happening in that sector?
So there are a couple of different things happening. People are looking for increased pay. People are not just looking for pay, they're also looking for, am I happy in my career? That's the biggest part of the Great Recession. I think personally, people are just reevaluating their life, making sure they have work-life balance. Is this the is my job providing me the type of balance that I want? Am I happy in my role?
Right.
And I think that's where COVID has allowed people to put things in perspective.
True.
So it's not all about work. And, we have that. And also, people are moving into this gig employment lifestyle. So
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to the radio the other day, and there is a company advertising work for a day and get paid.
Mm.
And I thought it was like, wow. Kroger, I want to say it was Kroger, is really advertising you can get paid for 1 day of work. And I want to say some of the fast food restaurants are operating in that mode also. So it's like, this is kind of different. And
Right.
I shared it with our employment, one of our staffing managers, like, hey, heard this on the radio. I don't know if we can actually do this, but this is what's coming out.
Right.
People don't want to wait 2 weeks for a paycheck. They want a paycheck today.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Uber and Lyft have change. They're making moves and changing the way we do business.
Right. And I've even seen so for I've seen signs from McDonald's or some of the fast food chains that they're now paying or offering like $35 an hour.
I saw that and I sent it to my
Yeah.
chief. I said, that is crazy.
Right, right. So how is that affecting pay just across the board? Because now, I mean, I would think the thought would be, well, if they getting $35 at McDonald's and Burger King, well, I need a raise, you know?
Absolutely. It's driving everything up. And even I was listening to the radio this morning, inflation is going up. So
Mm,
the cost of everything is going up. Everybody wants more money.
right.
And it's like, where do you get it from? Where do you
I
get it
know.
from?
And I actually saw that they said that Georgia, out of all the states, Georgia has the highest inflation so far.
Oh wow.
So
That's
that's certainly something to think about. Um,
Absolutely. We're struggling with that now. Some of our employees want pay increases, and so we're using our data, our human resources data, to evaluate where we are and compare it to some of the local school districts to see if we can actually afford to make that type of increase. Also, we're looking at adding some more positions because people need support. My only concern with that is, if we make these changes now, how do we sustain it over the next 5 to 6 years? Because
Exactly.
yeah, what traditionally happens is you make these concessions for today. 2 years later, we're over budget. Now we have to cut positions.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We are certainly in interesting times, but when you say that you are comparing with other school districts, are you finding that others are also increasing their salaries as well?
Some districts are, some are not. A lot of districts gave signing bonuses this year.
Okay.
We also gave a fair amount of bonuses this year. That's another project that I'm working on that does not include hiring and firing, by the way.
Right.
We're working on a huge program where we rolled out 8 different pieces for recruiting and retention, to get people to, one, say thank you for staying with us. We value and support you, and to say, hey, come work with us. So a lot of employees, especially, and we received a lot of CARES Act funding, and we decided to funnel that down to the employees. But a lot of employers are having to become creative to get people into the door to work.
And stay. So
Yes.
retention is super important. So what have you seen as far as creating that work-life balance that everyone is craving right now?
I
Like
think
what's been important to people?
work-life balance starts, to me, with self-awareness. You have to really be clear about who you are, what you value, and what you want out of life. If you don't, if you're not clear about those things, I think it's very hard to attain work-life balance. And to also you have to give yourself grace. So for me, I like to work. I enjoy working. I'm an executor. And so working is extremely important to me, but that may not be important to the next person.
Right.
So, but I've also had to become very aware in, this is important to me, but I have a family and I have to make sure that I have the right balance of what I want to do versus what my family needs. So that's the big thing with work-life balance. You have to know what's important to you, because for some it may be family is a priority. So I'm gonna focus more time on my family and a little bit less time on work.
So while coming up with um, ways to um, ways to retain clients, now if everyone has different what they value as a work-life balance, how can a company, what is your company doing to create something that everyone can appreciate?
I think companies need to really be clear about the culture of their organization, and creating a culture where people can be honest and transparent about what they need. And if you can set up that culture of honesty and transparency, you can create an environment based on what that employee needs. And if it's transparent, authentic, you don't have to worry about, well, this person's getting this and I'm getting this. You're giving a person what they need, like you're getting what you need and you're getting what you need. And it's still being, like Rhonda's saying, inclusive,
Right.
but also equitable. I think that's
Yeah.
that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Because equity does not necessarily mean equal.
True.
There is a difference. You make things equitable, not necessarily equal.
Right. Right. Because you're right. Each person does require something else. So how do you create something like that?
You have to really do
survey
and
data first. Is like a survey going out, and then how do you choose what's best?
You work with your groups. Yeah, you work with your groups. So creating the culture, and you create culture by surveys and placing the right people in leadership.
Right. That's true.
Hmm.
That's true.
Which, of course, that then goes back to the self-awareness. Having
Right.
leaders who are self-aware and understand how they show up to others helps create that culture.
So this to do that, in addition, so we're all, or the majority of us are still away from the office, right?
Mhm.
But some are hybrid. So are you holding meetings? Like, how does that, what does that look like?
So I'm actually back in the office.
Mhm.
Um, right, Rhonda, senior leaders create culture. I'm back in the office. We are holding majority of our meetings virtually. There are some meetings that I attend in person, but it's smaller groups, and we have protocols in place. If there is a certain number of employees in the meeting, then we have to have an air purifier in the room.
Right.
Um, but but that's of course in our office, in my office, with the larger groups, in the schools are in, teachers are in. It's not operating as is. There are COVID protocols,
Mhm.
but the schools are conducted in person. But I can say, we just rolled out a um, a supplement for vaccinations, and we've had about 70% of our employees to apply for it.
Oh, wow.
70%, yeah.
Wow. And so, what? Explain what the supplement for vaccination is.
You get $1,000 for being vaccinated.
Really?
Yes.
So, do you all have something else stating? So, if you're not vaccinated, what's the next step in your organization? Because I know that happens to others as well.
There's no next step currently. It's a choice still. It's not mandated to be vaccinated, but there's just an incentive for if you are. You get some monetary compensation. There are some employees. One person actually came to my office like, I'm gonna go get vaccinated today. Are we gonna have another chance to get this supplement? So we're rolling it out. This is step one, and then we're gonna have another installment later at the beginning of next year.
And so, using data, how are you tracking that? Because I know this school system has a ton of employees, thousands and thousands of employees. So, how are they tracking that?
We had to be very strict and use a form system, and everybody has to go through the form. You have to complete the submission process as stated. Then you get people, well, they're sending emails. Nope, we can't accept emails, which is a culture shift.
Right.
We've shifted the culture, or we're shifting the culture, because people are used to, well, I can't complete the form and I can't log in, so can I just email? And traditionally we've accepted it.
Right.
Now the answer is, unfortunately, you have to follow the process. And
Wow.
so that can be a shock for some people when they're not used to it.
Exactly, exactly. We have Bill on here says, Katrina, love your comments about the difference between equal and equity. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, we actually formed a equity committee in the office to kind of look into the equity within the district. And and there's a picture of like four students looking over a fence. And I think the tagline may say equity doesn't is not equal, because all four students are able to look over the fence, but if you look behind the fence, they're each standing on a different level still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so I teach a lot of DEI classes, and we have a picture similar to that as well.
Hmm.
And some people say, well, you can remove the fence, like, well,
Hmm.
if they're a fence. So there's so many different ways that you can show that
Hmm.
equal is not,
Yeah.
equity. So
Exactly. It's great. I just thought about there was a video also about there's a video, I think it's a team building, and they had step forward if you did this, step
yeah,
forward if yes. And then once they completed all the questions, you had people back here, you had people back here, and they're like, so
mhm,
all the people in the front turn around and say, is this really equal?
it's not. Right. Exactly, because other people have different advantages. So
Absolutely.
that is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So we're close to wrapping up. So is there any last statement that you want people to know about where we are in COVID? HR is more than hiring and firing. And as you can see, we talked about a whole bunch of other things
Yes.
that's happening within HR. A lot have to do with data, succession planning, strategic decision-making, cost analysis. Is there anything else you want to leave the viewers with?
No, I don't have anything. I think the biggest thing for me, I used to say a long time ago that HR is the heartbeat of the organization. And a lot of organizations may not feel that way, but it really, to me, it really is the heartbeat of your organization. And if your heart's not right, the rest of the body collapses.
That is so true.
Because HR is pumping the blood throughout the organization. And what's funny, I literally thought about it this morning. I used to say that maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And our tagline here in my current office is HR, the division with heart.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That actually made me feel good. That's better than they just hire and fire. So
yes, HR controls the heartbeat. So if you don't value your HR department, I would say you should, because you can create a lot of traction if you have the right people in your HR department and you value what comes out of that department.
That is so true. That is so true. Well, thank you all, everyone. Katrina, how can people get in touch with you, actually?
I am on LinkedIn at Katrina L. Shackelford. That is the main social media page that I use for networking and professional work. So you can reach me there.
Okay, thank you. And Rhonda said the fence also represents the obstacles some face in having an equitable shot as contributing to an org's success and their own careers. Oh, that is good, Rhonda.
Very good. I love Rhonda. Rhonda was one of my first mentors when I came into the HR space. So I absolutely love Rhonda Height.
She is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Well, everyone, thank you so much. You have been watching A Cup of Resilience podcast with my guest, Katrina Shackelford, and you know where to find her. You can certainly find us, follow us, A Cup of Resilience, and follow me, Tamiko Drummond. And that's it. Until next time, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to A Cup of Resilience. Follow, like, share at A Cup of Resilience. At A Cup of Resilience.
My name is Tamiko Drummond, and I'm known as the brand success coach. Once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you.